This morning my tour group finds itself in the city of Fes, Morocco. We started out early in the morning for a couple of reasons. One, to escape the heat, and two, to avoid the worst of the crowds, as we were going on a walking tour of the Medina of the city of Fes. Fez is basically divided into three parts. The Medina, which is the original walled city dating from the 8th century, the old town outside the walls that dates to the 14th century, and the modern part of town. Our walking tour focused on the Medina, which is made up of a series of buildings along narrow streets and tunnels built on a hillside. The streets of the Medina are laid out as a maze on purpose to confuse raiders who might invade the Medina and allow the residents to escape or trap the invaders. In the Medina, narrow streets rule, some so narrow that only one person may pass through at a time, and often the streets end in a dead end. Also, as you go along, you will be passing along in the open, and then proceed through a tunnel completely devoid of light. When you're in the Medina, you are definitely back in the Middle Ages, as none of it is prettied up for tourists. Also, you had to keep your wits about you, for the donkey drivers would shout a warning to get out of the way and run down anyone silly enough not to heed their warning. All goods are transported by hand cart, or donkey, as nothing larger can navigate the narrow streets. As we proceeded along, we had to watch our steps, as there were plenty of piles of donkey droppings to avoid. Luckily, we had a guide with us, as within 30 seconds and 3 turns later, I was hopelessly lost and would have never have found my way out of the Medina. We started our tour of the Medina around 9 a.m. and at that time the place was quiet with only a few people about. Normally at this time the Medina would be packed, but due to Ramadan, people get up at 2 a.m. to eat and drink before sunrise and then go back to bed at 4 a.m. to sleep later into the morning. As the morning progressed, more and more people were about the souk, as a market is called in the Middle East, and by noon you could hardly navigate the narrow streets due to the crowds. Here we are entering a courtyard that in years past would serve the same purpose as a hotel or motel today, and where visitors to Fez could find lodging for the night. Today it is occupied by merchants, craft shops, and homes, as lodging for visitors is more readily available in the modern parts of Fez.
Over there, blacksmiths, if you know what I mean, blacksmiths.
Salam alaikum.
Good. That's why they say you have to hammer the iron when it's warmer. You see, please, that all of the doors, the original ones, are same style. You see the hand and the toe knockers? On the 9th century time, people, they never ever think that the vehicles will exist. That's why the only way to carry heavy goods is only animals, either donkeys or mules.
Through a nondescript door off of one of the streets of the Medina, we passed into the shop of a carpet merchant to see his wares of fine Berber carpets. We also visited a cloth merchant, where the cloth he was selling was weaved right in his place of business.
It works by hand and also by feet.
If you think you've had a bad day at work, let me tell you about one spot I visited in the Medina of Fes. We paid a visit to a leather goods shop, and the owner said, "Come up to the roof terrace, as there is a sight you should not miss." As we came out on the roof, we were all handed a sprig of mint leaves, and then looked down into a vision of hell. We looked down into a courtyard that had a leather tannery. We most certainly needed the mint to hold to our noses, as the smell was beyond belief. The tanning process uses ammonia and lime obtained from urine and feces, mixed with water and allowed to marinate. The entire courtyard was made up of tub after tub of this mix, with fat and hair scraped from the hides lying about as well and putrefying in the high heat. Men in this courtyard spend their working lives in these tubs up to the waist in this nasty solution, moving the hides from tub to tub as the hides move along the process to becoming leather. We do not know how well we got it until we see something like this. Our time in the Medina has come to an end. Time to head out into more open spaces in the city of Fez. On the outskirts of Fez, we visited a ceramic workshop, which is run as a cooperative to provide training and employment for the young people of Fez. The kilns for this workshop used to be fueled in the traditional manner by burning olive pits, and that produced acrid black smoke, which was highly polluting. The Moroccan government has encouraged this shop to convert to natural gas, which is far less harmful to the environment. The shop produces fine art items and pottery that can be used for everyday cooking. The time has come to bid farewell to Fez and head on to our next point of interest in the country of Morocco.